Thank you. Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much to IJS for the holy work that you do. And thank you all of you for joining. So we're going to do our meditation, and I want to teach something before as a kind of a prompt of what we're going to do. So I'm going to define today meditation and mindfulness meditation as the capacity to be in the space in between. There's a concept of Bein Hashmashot, the twilight zone, the space in between, this mysterious place that inhabits when we expand the walls of awareness. So in between what? In between feeling and reaction, thinking and reaction. So the mindfulness goal is to replace reactivity with awareness. Because in that awareness, we have freedom. What is the freedom that we have in awareness? The freedom to choose how to show up in the world. When we say that I'm not only my feelings, I'm not only my thoughts, I'm not only my narratives. And we can see even our narratives as an old story, that is in us as a habit, because we inhabit the narrative, and sometimes the time has come to change the script. So mindfulness is a landscape into the space in between. It's the landscape of awareness that we visit each time that we do the practice. And place in the Jewish tradition, it's called makom. It's a place. And makom is one of the names for God. So I'm going to say that this place of awareness of non-reactivity is the closest we have to the divine when we are not in that reactivity. So mindfulness is a landscape that we visit when we meditate. And I want to bring an additional spiciness today, which is that comes from the parasha. We are in the section of the Torah of Be'alotcha. And we have a new tradition that starts in this parasha, which is the Passover, the Pesach Sheni, the second Passover, that is instituted in response to a petition when some people couldn't bring the gift of Pesach. And they said, why should we be deprived? Because they were impure. They were ritually impure, so they couldn't bring the Korban Pesach, the gift of Pesach. So I'm going to use this as a metaphor, and I invite you to be in that landscape with me. And I asked the question, aren't we all kind of spiritually impure from time to time when we move only in the world of reactivity, polluted by our reactivity? And when we are in that reactivity, we cannot bring our purest gifts, our purest offerings, because our mind, our soul is being kidnapped by that reactivity. We are contaminated by disturbing thoughts, by disturbing feelings, by disturbing narratives. So I want to take the invitation of the Pesach Sheni, of the second Passover, as a second chance. What if we could have a connection with reality as a second chance to connect not from the place of reactivity, not from the place of the old narratives. And we can look at what it is from the landscape of the space in between, from the landscape that we call makom. To go to the highest aspirations of our soul, which is the makom, the place of the divine, and to give ourselves a second chance to bring our gifts. What are the gifts that we can bring when we are not dominated by our reactivity and our narratives? So this is the background teaching that I want to offer for our mindfulness practice. And I invite you to say whatever comes up, comes up. Don't allow yourself, because of this teaching, to go there, to create stories in your mind. Allow this to be. And whatever comes up is information. Whatever comes up is data. And we come back to being present. We come back to be present. And we use the trusted anchor of our breath that is in our body to bring our mind back. So I invite you to sit in a position that conveys alertness, which is usually with the back straight. To close your eyes. So we go to our interiority and to connect with your breath. The breath has a circuit of the air coming in, and choose a moment in the circuit of your breath. Maybe the feeling of the air in your nostrils, maybe your chest, maybe the inflating or deflating of your belly. Choose your trusted anchor, the place where you're going to come back again and again. And sit in that place. It is always with us. Closing our eyes and taking a deep breath is always available to us. And when we do that, we get out of the treadmill of life. We get out of the world of the urgent to enter into the world of the important. And each time that we come back, because we are going to get distracted, because this is what the mind does. The mind generates thoughts and feelings. And programmatic mind and comparative mind, all these tricks, habits of the mind. And we look at them with curiosity, without judgment, with compassion, with loving kindness, sometimes even with gratitude, because it's the creativity of our mind. But we say to our mind, thank you for showing up, but not now. Now I'm paying attention only to my breath. And in the coming back is where we expand the makom, the place, the landscape of awareness. So it is not about not being distracted. It's impossible not being distracted. Let's not be judgmental about it. Let's be compassionate. This is what the mind does. And exercise is bringing it back to the trusted anchor. And each time that we bring it back, we exercise the muscles in the gym of mindfulness and expand the walls of awareness. And we notice whatever comes up, and we smile to whatever comes up. And we come back to the trusted anchor. And I gave you a prompt, which is the teaching from the Torah of the Pesach Sheni, which is about second chances in life, to bring our gifts, not from the place of reactivity, but from the place of awareness. And whatever comes up, comes up. Even if you're excited to engage with whatever is coming up. Look at the seduction that certain thoughts, narratives have in you. It is all data, and come back. Because the more we come back to the makum, to the landscape of awareness, the better it is. Don't worry, whatever showed up is going to show up again. Nothing gets lost. So our work, it is not to think. It is coming back to the trusted anchor again and again. So let's be in silence, coming back to the makom, to the landscape of awareness. Keep bringing back the attention to the makom, to the landscape, to the place of awareness, of a trusted anchor. And we do it with loving kindness, with compassion and curiosity. I invite you to take a deep, deep inhale, hold it, and exhale with a sigh. And another one. I invite you to visualize with your eyes closed exactly where you are with your eyes open, as if you have x-rays. You can see with your eyes closed everything that is in front of you and around you. And very slowly, at your own pace, open your eyes. If you want, you wash your face like that. You stretch, you yawn. Thank you for being with me, and thank you to the IGS. I give myself the control to Miriam.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful teaching and practice, Marcelo. We're grateful. At this time, my friends, is an opportunity for Kaddish Yatom, for mourners Kaddish. If you'd like to put in the chat the name of someone for whom you're saying Kaddish today, someone you're remembering, please do. If you're saying Kaddish, I invite you to unmute, to rise in body, or to elevate your heart. And we can join in the words together. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei Rabba v'yalma divra pirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayefon uv'yamachon u'chayei b'chol bet Yisrael b'agala u'b'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'lamei ha'aya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitlamam v'yitnaseh v'yithader v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei t'kudsha b'richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shivata u'shgechata v'nafchata danan be'alma she'amar le'olam Yehei shlama rabba min Shemaya Chaim Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Hu yaseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru Amen.
Amen.
May their memories truly be a blessing, and may all who are mourning be held in love and comfort.
Amen.
Amen. So, friends, we have an opportunity for questions and conversation. If you have a question, please put it in the chat, and you can write in bold question so I can see it and share it with Marcelo and with everyone. You can also share anything that you noticed in your practice. That would be lovely too. Perhaps I'll start with a question, if I may. I really loved it felt like you gave us two metaphors or images to work with. And interestingly, one was about space and one was about time. You were talking about the landscape of mindfulness between reaction, between stimulus and reaction, this landscape. And in my practice, I felt this beautiful spaciousness with that metaphor, with that image. And then you also gave us the image from the parasha of Pesach Sheni that has to do with if the time was not aligned, if one was not aligned at that particular time of Pesach, you had another time opportunity to bring forth an offering. And I'm wondering if you can speak to something about space and time There's a request for me to be louder. Is that better? I hope so. Um, yeah, I was so struck and found both of those really helpful. Um, I'm wondering if there's more that you might say.
Yes, immediately, Miriam, when you say time, my mind goes to Heschel,
Mm,
Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, when he says Shabbat, the Sabbath, is our palace in time. So there is no structure that is Shabbat. There's no temple. The sun sets on Friday, and there is a time that begins, a time of awareness, a time of celebration, a time of not producing, a time of stop being human doings to become human beings again. So in the intersection between space and time is the intersection between the world of, of the matter and the world of the spirit. We live in the world of the matter, every day we have to produce, we have schedules, we have things to do, we have responsibilities. Okay, the world of the matter, which is good, it's okay. And we have then a dedication to the world of the spirit. So I feel that in many ways, mindfulness is the permanent access to the Shabbat spirit, even on a Thursday, even on a Monday, like we are today, any moment. When we say, okay, I'm going to stop the treadmill, I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to go to that space in between, and I'm going to inhabit the possibility of connecting with the reality of the material world from another perspective.
mm,
And that's, of course, I'm reading into something, the metaphor. I'm taking Pesach Sheni as the second Pesach because they couldn't give their gifts, bring their gift because they were polluted. And I'm saying to myself, aren't we polluted all the time? Polluted by thoughts, by shoots, by masts, by memories, by trauma, by so many things that inhabit our existence. And to say mindfulness is this landscape when time and space interact
mm.
in a way for us to access a different reality where we have a second chance to connect with the gifts that we couldn't bring because we were kidnapped. Maybe kidnapped is too strong. I don't know. Taken by these thoughts, by the feelings, by the reactivity. So yes, I'm mixing, space, time, and this metaphor that, to tell you the truth, I was studying the parsha for today and I said, what is Pesach Sheni? What is Pesach Sheni from the perspective of mindfulness?
Mm.
And I said, this is a second chance. Isn't mindfulness in itself a second chance to
Mm.
see reality from another landscape, from another place? So thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. And Lynn's question in the chat continues on this further thread about place in certain ways. Lynn wrote, can you speak to makom and mishkan? Is one just physical, but both a way to experience the divine?
Great question. Great question. Makom is used for God. Hamakom. That's the traditional use of the famous Jacob's dream. Yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh v'anochi lo yadati. There is a God in this place, and I didn't know it. So makom is not, although makom means place, doesn't mean place spiritually. It means God. Mishkan, which is a fabulous connection that you're making. Mishkan is this sanctuary that is movable. That the Mishkan becomes the blueprint for the Mikdash later. The Mishkan, this tent that was moved around in the wilderness for the ark, then is the blueprint for the Mikdash, which is going to be the temple in Jerusalem. So for me, the Mishkan is the constant metaphor of impermanence. There is a creative tension between Mishkan and Mikdash, between the movable, the transitional, and the fixed. And what we learn from Mishkan is that a good wind could make it disappear. Isn't that the case about life? We receive a phone call and we have a diagnosis. What we thought was a structure, suddenly everything disappeared. And we're taken to another place mentally. So we have the illusion, because it's not, maybe we couldn't live, that our life is a mikdash, is a structure, it has bricks, it's solid. But we know, because of life, that the reality of our life is mishkan. It's, it's transitional. It's not permanent. It's ephemeral. And we live in this tension between Mikdash and Mishkan. And where is the place that we can go to tolerate this tension between Mikdash and Mishkan is the Makom. Is the possibility to understand that in the midst of this tremendous tension, there is a place that is not physical. There is a place that is spiritual, that we can make sense of something that doesn't make sense. And it's again, Heschel would say that God is the mystery beyond absurdity. That in spite of that, there is a mystery. I'm quoting, sorry, I'm very Heschelian today, but it's okay.
It's beautiful.
That Heschel, talking about the Vietnam War and what was happening, he was very involved, very close friend with Martin Luther King. He was asked, "Are you an optimist?" And he says, "Listen, everything in reality tells me not to be an optimist. The place of the reality. But when I go to the possibility of the Makom, the divine, I'm putting this into Heschel's word, he said, holy friends, I'm an optimist against my better judgment. My better judgment is telling me I should not be an optimist. This is horrible. We're going down the tubes. But there is a possibility of elevating ourselves to the world of the aspirational. And that's the Makom. And in that place, I say to my better judgment, I know that things are bad and that we could apply it today to what is happening. But from the place of the Makom, I could be an optimist against my better judgment. I say to my better judgment, I know that logically we are right. But you know what? We are more than that. When we inhabit the place of the mystery, the place of the ineffable, the place of not what it is, but also the place of what could be.
Beautiful.
Sorry, long answer to a question.
Oh, that was a wonderful answer. And I so deeply appreciate also that it's not an ignoring or turning away from the ephemeral, the broken, the terrifying. It's actually in direct relationship with it. And
Absolutely.
then I hear you talking about expanding into an awareness of what is larger than it, but includes it.
Yes, and remember, in the tradition, we have these incredible teachings. The broken tablets, Moses goes up, writes it again, puts the ark to put the tablets, and God said, hey, wait. The broken tablets also go into the ark, meaning the brokenness is also inside of the holiness of our souls. Without the brokenness, we are not complete. Sounds like a contradiction, sounds like a paradox, but that's a reality. We need the brokenness to be complete. And awareness is the place to see the brokenness from the place of compassion and loving kindness, of forgiveness, of elevation, and not from judgment. That's also the whole point of this.
Beautiful. And I just want to read Harris's reflection. Harris says, and the place within that tension is always available if we are not reactive.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, that's the teaching of mindfulness.
Mhm.
It's always available. And the technology that we need is very simple. Close your eyes and go to a trusted anchor and allow whatever shows up to show up. Because whatever we resist, we empower. That's why it's important to let it be. Just whatever it shows up, shows up. It's just data. It's just information. And the awareness is the courage
Mhm.
to go to the place of the unknown. And as we say in Spanish, with the que será, será. We will be, and it's okay.
Mm. Deborah asks a question. Have you published any books?
Not yet, as a great teacher said once. Not yet. Thank you. Thank you. I see an invitation there.
Yes, but Rachel, if you could put in the link to Marcelo's website again, people who want to continue to study with you have a range of beautiful opportunities to do that. Maybe I'll ask one last question before we close. I was struck by your framing of being able to distinguish between the urgent and the important. And I know when I'm in urgency mind, I believe fully that the urgent is the important.
Of
And I
course.
wonder if you could say a little bit more about how we unblend those two.
I think that's uh, one of the works that I do as a psychotherapist, to try to separate things, because the treadmill of life is that to believe that everything that we do is important and urgent and has to be done now. And when we are in this capitalist frame of more is better, and to have stress, because if we don't have stress, we're not doing something that is important and transcendent. So it's the capacity to look and to open and to dissect and to see the narrative that is supporting that behavior. Miriam, we all have narratives that come from our childhood, and whatever it is. And these narratives are fed by thoughts. So the capacity to see the narratives, the capacity to see the thoughts that are feeding the narratives, it's a courageous act. And one of my phrases is that change, it's a courageous act of radical imagination. When we could imagine that it's a different reality, but we are so entrenched in our narratives. Why? Because it's an old shoe. We're used to that. Not necessarily because it's whatever, but it's just our way of presenting to the world. So the idea is to slow down and to actually pay attention to what is the narrative that is supporting this. Is this narrative still important? And to see how much we have a habit, because we're kids of habits, and to open this up. The whole secret is opening things up and not to be scared of that. And then to make decisions from that space.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Marcelo, for giving us the gift of radical imagination and beautiful practice. And thank you to Rachel for supporting us, supporting the tech. And thank you to each and every one of you for being part of this ongoing community. We hope you come back in practice together. Many blessings to you all.
Thank you so much for the invitation.